What happens when you mix brutal combat, rich lore, and a cursed warrior hell-bent on revenge? You get the First Berserker Khazan, an upcoming dark fantasy action RPG from Nexum Games that caught the attention of hack and slash fans worldwide. If you're someone who lives for fast-paced melee combat, beautifully grotesque worlds, and high-stakes storytelling, then you're going to want to pay attention. In this Before You Buy, we'll be diving deep into everything you need to know before stepping into the blood-soaked boots of Khazan. Set in the Dungeon and Fighter universe, the First Berserker Khazan takes a more mature and gritty direction compared to its MMO origins. Instead of focusing on dungeons and raids, this game zeroes in on the tragic and vengeful tale of Khazan, a once respected general who's been betrayed, cursed, and cast into the hellish purgatory of war and madness. With a mix of Souls-like influence and cinematic storytelling, this could be one of 2025's most gripping action RPGs, but let's break down section by section. The story of Khazan is pure dark fantasy gold. Once the mighty general of the Pelos Empire, Khazan was framed for treason, stripped of his honour, and cursed with a bloodthirsty madness. Now, he fights for a ruined world to uncover the truth, tear down those who betrayed him, and reclaim his lost legacy. This is the revenge tale steeped in myth, betrayal, and monstrous transformation. What makes the narrative intriguing is the focus on Khazan's internal conflict as much as his external journey. He's not just battling through armies of grotesque foes, he's battling the beast within. The story unfolds through in-engine cinematics, flashbacks, and environmental storytelling. Think God of War meets Dark Souls, but with a more emotional, character-driven twist. This isn't just a power fantasy, it's about confronting your past and facing the monster you've become. At the heart of the First Berserker Khazan is a savage, visceral combat system. This isn't just about mashing buttons, every strike, parry and dodge matters. Combat is weighty and brutal, with an emphasis on timing, precision and positioning. You'll need to master a variety of weapons and abilities, chaining together devastating combos while managing Khazan's rage meter and stamina. The game takes inspiration from Souls-like in terms of its challenge, but it adds its own flavour. Khazan's Berserker ability allows you to enter a frenzied state, delivering massive damage at the cost of control and health. It's a high risk, high reward system that encourages aggressive but smart play. Enemy variety also plays a big role. Each foe has unique action attack patterns, weaknesses and behaviour, forcing you to adapt constantly. This is a game where you learn by dying, then come back smarter and meaner. Okay, let's talk graphics, and wow, this game looks stunning. It's built in Unreal Engine 5. Khazan delivers some jaw-dropping visuals, from crumbling castles lit by firelight to desolate warfields drenched in blood and ash. The environments are atmospheric and loaded with detail. It's grim, moody and cinematic, perfect for the story it's telling. Character models are especially impressive. Khazan himself looks like he's walked straight out of a nightmare, muscles bulging, armour cracked and his eyes glowing with barely contained rage. The enemies are even more twisted. Mutants, cursed soldiers and monstrous beasts, and other things I won't spoil here. This is a game that takes pride in making you feel uncomfortable in the best way. Though the game isn't fully open world, it's made up of interconnected regions filled with secrets, shortcuts and hidden bosses. Think Bloodborne or Sekiro rather than Elden Ring. Exploration is encouraged, with side paths leading to lore, loot and deadly encounters you wouldn't find on the main route. Each area feels handcrafted, with environmental storytelling that hints at the lore without shoving it down your throat. You might find a battlefield still littered with the dead, a village twisted by corruption, or a temple overtaken by dark cults. These places aren't just background, they're integral to Khazan's journey, mirroring his fall and fight for redemption. In Khazan, you don't just get stronger, you evolve. The progression system is deep, letting you upgrade weapons, unlock new abilities, and customize your playstyle. Want to go full tank with heavy armor and high pose? You can. Prefer a fast, aggressive build that hits hard and moves faster? That's on the table too. You'll gather materials from fallen enemies, hidden chests, and boss drops to craft gear, enhance stats, and unlock passive perks. Skills are tied to a branching ability tree, so there's room for experimentation. Plus, managing Khazan's rage transformation becomes more nuanced as you invest in the right upgrades, turning him from a brute into a strategic weapon of vengeance. What would a Souls-like be without killer boss fights? And Khazan delivers them in spades. Every boss is a set piece, massive, grotesque, and deadly. Some are fast and erratic, while others hit like freight trains. You'll face corrupted knights, cursed emperors, and nightmarish monsters that look like they've crawled out of Dante's Inferno. These fights aren't just tests of skill, they're narrative moments. Each boss represents a piece of Khazan's past, an obstacle of his path to the truth. Expect multi-phase battles, brutal attack patterns, and plenty of oh no moments. But when you finally take one down, the feeling of triumph is what these games are all about. There are a lot of action RPGs out there, but the First Berserker Khazan has a few tricks up its sleeve. For starters, it's the first game in the Dungeon and Fighter universe to go full third person. Single player action RPG, and it's leaning into that hard. The lore is deep and interconnected with Naxxon's other titles, but you don't need to be a fan to enjoy it. This is a standalone story that's been given the AAA attention. What really sets it apart is the tone. This is dark, brutal game that isn't afraid to go full mythological horror. From the enemy design to the music, everything is pushing the player to feel Khazan's rage, pain, and desperation. Combine that with satisfying combat, cinematic storytelling, and high replayability, and you've got something that could go toe to toe with the best in the genre. While Nexon hasn't confirmed post-launch plans yet, all signs point to the First Berserker Khazan being a long-term franchise investment. Given its ambitious scope and roots in the expansive Dungeon and Fighter universe, it's likely we'll see future expansions, DLC story chapters, and even crossover content. Imagine facing off against legendary figures from other DNF lore, or diving into alternative endings based on Khazan's decision throughout the campaign. The potential is massive. And from a gameplay standpoint, new zones, weapon types, and enemy fractions would fit naturally into the framework they've built. There's even speculation among fans that Khazan's rage transformation could evolve with future updates, introducing new forms of abilities tied to lore. Nexon follows a model similar to what we've seen in Pass of Exile or Monster Hunter World. Players could be looking at years of new content, and if it's done right, this could be the next big dark fantasy series to keep an eye on. And we've got to be doing the for and against. And on the for side, Khazan looks like an absolute feast for action RPG fans. The visuals are incredible, the combat is tight, and the story is shaping up to be an emotional rollercoaster. If you've been craving something that blends God of War level brutality with Souls-like difficulty, this is right up your alley. And on the against side, the game is still early in its reveal cycle. We've had the demo, but if you're someone who wants a polished, proven gameplay, you might want to wait for the post-launch feedback. Also, depending on difficulty tuning, this might not be ideal for casual players, but if you like a challenge, this could be your next obsession. I played the demo on the channel and I absolutely loved it. The First Berserker Khazan is shaping up to be one of the boldest entries in the action RPG space in years. It's brutal, beautiful and unapologetically dark, a game that wears its rage and tragedy on its sleeve. With fast, tactical combat, a world dripping with lore and a main character you can't help but root for, this might just be a future classic in the making. What do you think though? Are you ready to embrace the madness, or are you holding off for more gameplay reveals? Let me know in the comments, smash the like button if you enjoyed this deep dive, and don't forget to subscribe for more before you buy reviews. Until next time, stay sharp and keep slaying.